Hello, thank you for watching this brief overview video of how Digicoach supports the CALI Reads grant. My name is Brandon Mahorter, and I'm Director of Innovation with Digicoach. I'm here to help support with any technical questions you may have around our system. You may also want to contact your CALI Reads coach for questions regarding implementations or other uses of Digicoach. To get started, let's take a quick look at the two components that you'll be able to use during the grant. On the left side of the screen, you can see our walkthrough tool. This is going to be used by you when completing self-reflections or peer walkthroughs. On the right side of the screen is our formative coaching system. This is an email tool that you can utilize when completing peer walkthroughs to give positive feedback to your teachers or colleagues. Digicoach is used on mobile devices including iPhones, iPads, Android phones, Android tablets, including Amazon Fire tablets. Newer Google Chromebooks, mostly those released after 2017, may also support Digicoach depending on your configuration of your device. Let's take a look about how Digicoach will be used. As I mentioned, Digicoach will primarily be used by teachers for self-reflection and peer walkthroughs. The idea is you'll be able to use our system to help refine and observe those literacy instruction strategies that are most important to the grant. In this case, we're talking about self-generated questions. A quick terminology overview of our system. We call this self-generated questions matrix in addition. The idea is that you'll be able to use this matrix or addition when both creating lessons as well as self-reflecting on lessons or doing peer walkthroughs with colleagues as they utilize the self-generated questions addition or content in their lessons. On this example, you can see we're looking at the lesson design focus area, and you can see the blue buttons on where we've scored these look-fors. Purpose, for example, has been marked as exemplary, where modeling and explicit instruction has been tagged as evident. Within the grant, our evident is our target or proficiency. We encourage you to speak with your CALI Reads coaches and have conversations around calibrating or norming on what these look-fors appear like during lessons. Note, NA is also an option. This would be used if you weren't looking for a specific look-for, or it wasn't applicable to your lesson today. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. First, let's get started with creating your account password. You should have received an email from the Digicoach system that has a link to create your account. This email will either say welcome to Digicoach or an administrator created an account for you. Find the long link within the email and click that to access the Digicoach website. This will pull up your web browser where you can click the login button on the left side and then click to create a password down below. After you've typed into your password and confirmed it, simply scroll down and hit the Save button at the bottom of the page. You can safely ignore those other fields. This will land you on the Digicoach report portal, which at this time is not being used as part of the grant, so you can safely close the window at this point. Next, let's log into Digicoach. To get started, you'll need to download the Digicoach app on your phone or tablet. Visit digicoach.com and click the link to install from there, or search for us in the App Store of your device. After installing Digicoach on your phone or tablet, open up the Digicoach app and you'll be greeted with this screen. Next, insert your email address and the password you created earlier. Then click Sign In. When you first click Sign In, Digicoach will begin downloading all the necessary information to utilize the system. This process will take around 90 seconds to complete, and it is important that you keep your phone or tablet awake or unlocked with Digicoach on screen while this process completes. This is only a one-time download, and once this process is finished, you'll be good and ready to go with Digicoach. It may be helpful to pause the video and get your device logged in before completing the next steps. From here, we're going to be looking at the process of completing a self-reflection or a peer walkthrough with Digicoach. After your login completes, you'll land on the Digicoach dashboard that looks like this. Depending on your device, tablets on the left and phones on the right, the way you use Digicoach is similar and different in some key ways. I've got my iPad mirrored on my screen here, and I'll show you how to do this on the phone in just a couple minutes. Feel free to fast forward if you're going to be using Digicoach on phones instead of your iPad. All right, let's get started with our first walkthrough or self-reflection. The first thing you'll do is click the green New Walk button at the top of the screen. Next, you'll need to select from the drop-downs here before you can start your peer walk or self-reflection. The first drop-down that says Classroom Instruction Edition is our focus. Our focus today is the Self-Generated Questions Edition, so I'll select that one. Next, I'll select the educator, subject, and grade. I'm doing a self-reflection, so I'll choose my own account from the list here. I'll select the subject of my lesson, as well as the grade level that I teach. Next, I'll click Start Walkthrough. Note across the bottom of the screen, we have our 3 focus areas: Lesson Design, Tools and Resources, and Self-Generated Question. You can use those buttons to navigate, or simply swipe left and right and up and down. Anywhere that you see blue text, that indicates that you can tap on it to bring up a description or enhanced explanation of what you might see in the classroom. Let's jump back over to Lesson Design. As I do my self-reflection, I would read through these elements: purpose, model and explicit instruction, and so on, and rate where I think I'm at. Any elements that you leave as NA or omitted from the lesson or this walkthrough or self-reflection. If I wasn't using cue cards and they weren't relevant to the time of my lesson, I'd simply leave that as NA. Next, I'll click the green feedback button to pull up the Digicoach email tool. Up at the top, we have strategies and coaching tips. This is a large library of statements that you can use to provide feedback to your colleagues. Rather than scrolling through the list, I can use the drop-down buttons here to narrow my focus. If I want to look at strategies specifically for purpose, I can do that, and now this has a list of just 6 or so statements tied specifically to the purpose of the lesson. To use these short descriptions, you tap on them, a preview is presented to you, and you can click Insert to add them into your email below. Strategies are written as reinforcements. When you did this, your students responded this way. Coaching tips are written as a suggestion. Try doing this to get students to respond this way. If I'm doing a self-reflection rather than a peer walkthrough, I typically wouldn't be using the email tool. Instead, I would want to uncheck the little green checkbox at the bottom of the screen there that says Send Email Feedback, this one here. By turning that off or disabling that, it turns off the email. I now can complete my walkthrough, say OK, and my last step would be to hit this orange Sync and Send button at the top of the screen. This would upload my walkthrough to the cloud, and if I was doing a peer walk, it would send the email off to my colleague. I've switched over to my phone, and you can see it's somewhat similar to the iPad. Let's start our first peer walkthrough. To get started, click the green New Walk button. Next, select the Self-Generated Questions edition from the first dropdown. Then select an educator. I'm going to select the demo teacher for this walkthrough. I'll select a subject, and I'll select 7th grade. Next, I'll tap the green Start Walkthrough button. Just like on the iPad, we navigate by swiping up and down or left and right. Within each focus area, you'll swipe up and down to see all 4 look-fors, and left and right to navigate between the different pages. Again, any areas in blue, you can tap on those to bring up enhanced definitions or descriptions. As you're doing your peer walkthroughs, you'll be able to select the elements that you see taking place. For example, if I saw cue cards used in this lesson, I could tap that I saw them used at an evident level. Maybe student logs weren't used as well though, and so I might want to mark that one as emerging. I can jump over to the feedback screen, and you can see if you watch the iPad version of the video that this looks quite a bit different. Our strategies and the coaching tips that were at the top of the page for the iPad are behind the orange strategies and coaching tips at the bottom of the screen. To give a strategy, I tap that orange strategies button. Next, I hit the filter button here at the top right corner. When I tap filter, it brings up a list of my look-fors, and I can select now which area I want to give feedback with. If I select cue cards, for example, you can see we have 4 strategies tied to the use of cue cards. Selecting on one of these gives you a preview of the description, and I click the blue Insert button to add it to my email. Next, I'll click the back button here in the top left corner, and you can see that statement's been added to my system. I can do the same with the coaching tip, filter to a different area, tap on one, and insert it into my walkthrough. Again, if I want to disable my walkthrough, maybe with the focus of a self-reflection, I just uncheck the little green checkbox here. That turns off this email. I can click Complete Walkthrough and say OK. I'm taken back to my dashboard. At this point, I can go back into the walkthrough by clicking on the My Walks button. When you tap on My Walks, you can see it brings up any previous walkthrough you've completed. You can tap on the Ready to Send button to place walkthroughs on hold. This is kind of like placing an email in your drafts folder on your email client. Any walkthrough on hold is locked onto my device. Walkthroughs that are ready to send, when I tap the sync and send button back on the main page here, will get uploaded to the cloud and emailed off if the email feature was turned on. Now if I jump back to my walks, you can see the demo teacher account that I just used. That walkthrough has been sent. My other one is still locked on my device for future use. I can swipe over here and actually reveal an edit and a delete button to make any modifications as needed there. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. Again, my name was Brandon, and I'm happy to support you guys throughout this project. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.